So the owner's manual recommends 600-mile braking period. I did the first oil change at 361 miles. I did it because it was a 2022 leftover unit, and I don't know how long the oil had been sitting in the engine, so I kind of wanted to get that oil out and give it some fresh oil. First thing I did was take this belly cover off. It has 4 screws. I used a T30 to remove those. It exposes the bottom of the bike so I could put an oil pan underneath and pull the plug. Once I had that belly cover off, what I did was I started the bike. I brought it up to temperature. So once I had that 1 bar, I shut the bike off. Take your oil pan, you're gonna put it underneath the bike. Drain plug there. It's a 17mm socket. Just remember, the bike was just on and it's gonna be a little warm, so I would always put a glove on, and I always have a couple of rags and paper towels around, because you're always going to get some oil spilled somewhere. You're going to get some oil on the exhaust, but you could always wipe it down, wash it off. Once that's done, you're going to come back around this way. You have the oil filter in here, very similar to the Can-Am Ryker filter, so I'm very familiar with this setup. Get 8mm socket. Loosening these 3 screws up, you're going to start getting some oil dripping. Not a lot, so I'll just keep the oil pan underneath here so I can catch whatever oil is coming out. Once you take out these 3 screws, this screw here is going to be a little bit longer than these 2, so when putting them back, make sure you put that one there. And this screw is longer, it's because of this cover. I was going to take the cover off, but then I would have to buy a smaller screw like this size to fit there, because then the black piece here is not making up the difference. I just put that screw back on and I left it the way it is for now. Maybe I'll order one of these screws and take this black cover off. Really doesn't need it there. There's also a spring on the cover, so as you start loosening it up, you'll start seeing the cover pop out a little bit and you'll start getting oil coming out. If you're having a hard time putting the screw back on, kind of unscrew it and then screw it back in. They go in fairly easy by hand, and then I just hand tightened everything. Then as far as the specs, I recommend take out your owner's manual. It's in there. I can definitely tell you though, but that'll give you an opportunity to go through your owner's manual, and there's some goodies in here that you might want to look over for your bike. All right, states that you can do an oil change on the side stand, so you could have the bike just like this and be able to do an oil change. You don't have to have it on motorcycle stands to do an oil change. Once you got the cover back on with the new filter, the drain plug is on. At that point, you can start putting in the oil. The dealership that sold me the bike told me it takes 1.5 quarts, so I bought 3 quarts and 2 filters, so I can do 2 oil changes when I need to. And I'm just gonna drop 1.5 quarts in here and I should be good. There's also the little glass window here. There's a mark on there. There's 2 little marks, top and bottom, so it's just pretty much letting you know that this is where the oil should be at. The bike is leaning on its stance now. You can see a little bit of oil there at the bottom, but once I straighten it up, you'll see the oil come back up. I already know that it has 1.5 quarts, so I'm good on oil. If you stand the bike up, then you can pretty much see that the oil is right there. And once you put the oil in, you should be good. Start the bike up, let it run through the engine, check for leaks before you put any of the covers back on. I personally don't torque any other screws to spec. I usually hand tight everything, give it a couple nudges and leave it alone, but you could go into your owner's manual and get all the specs for all the screws. I'm just kind of just waiting around to see if I have any leaks on any of the bolts. Put this belly cover back on, start it up, run it, take it for a ride. Also, get yourself one of these other pans, these right here. They sell these like at AutoZone or O'Reilly's. What I do is I take the oil that I get on here, I put it in here and I transport it over to an AutoZone or O'Reilly's, and you can recycle it there for free. Just in case you didn't know, now you know. So I'm going to show you how to reset the maintenance schedule on the CFMOTO. You're going to turn the bike on. You get to that screen, you're going to hold the enter button down. Information, you're just going to hit enter again. And then it's going to give you options here also. Voltage, coolant, warning, service. You're going to go down to service. You're going to hit enter. Once you get there, you're gonna hold enter and up at the same time. You're gonna hold that for a little bit. You should get a prompt pop up. There you go, it took a while. That's how you reset your maintenance schedule like.